Hi, folks. Bob Mayne here from Handgun World Podcast and Modern Handgunners. And joining me is...
Ben Branam from Modern Self-Protection. Welcome all.
Yeah, welcome everybody. All right, so we're going to do a quick video on why you should not buy a new gun.
And what we mean by a new gun is when it first comes out, like brand new first generation factory gun. And every gun out there has been that first generation, and every single one of them lately, and I say lately, like the last 20 years, has had growing pains when they've come out.
Well, they have. And I did some controversial videos about a year and a half ago on my channel called Handgun World Podcast. And the controversial videos were why I was not going to buy a SIG P365. I was not going to be one of those people that bought it when it first came out, and I'm glad. I'm glad that I refrained from doing that, and look what I have. I got a SIG P365, but I bought it about a year and a half. I waited about a year and a half after it came out. I think everybody pretty much knows the growing pains about this gun, don't you think?
Well, why don't you go over that a little bit, and we'll talk about some of the other growing pains that came out. So that one I don't remember as well, but it had something to do with the striker, if I remember. Is that right?
Yeah, now, in full disclosure, I did not personally experience those because I, as I said, did not buy it when it first came out. But a lot of people had issues with the firing pin, primer drag, things like that. It just wasn't feeding very well. It just had issues. And I think that SIG had, I think this might be like the third version of the P365. Even their marketing director, I think, put out a YouTube video or did some kind of information piece somewhere that said, yeah, we're on a different version of the P365 now.
And that's everybody. They're quietly cleaning them up in the background, doing things. I remember when I went to the Smith & Wesson Armorer's course almost 10 years ago now, probably 8 years ago, the M&P, is that they talked about all of the upgrades that were being done in the background. And they just keep doing that. And there's a problem they fix here, a problem they fix there. Sometimes it's just a manufacturing flaw that they fix, and other times it's actually a gun flaw. When the Smith & Wesson M&Ps first came out, everybody was mad they had no audible tick or feel on the reset. The trigger was really spongy is what everybody said. And then they fixed that quietly in the background. And who knows what model now, besides the M2.0, before they came out with those, what model the actual Smith was and how far it went down. You know, they keep track of that stuff. But, you know, same thing there. And that was, they came out in 2003, 2005, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You also bought one of the brand new Glocks when it came out.
Oh, yeah,
the
let's
42,
talk about
the 43. I came out with the Gen 4 Glocks when they first came out. Had a problem. So, you know, SIG is not the only user. Glock has had problems.
No. Let's be an equal opportunity criticizer here. My Glock 42, okay? This is not the first Glock 42 I bought. The first Glock 42 I bought, I sold because I just couldn't get Glock to make it right. So this gun had problems. And if you remember, this was the very first small Glock to come out. And it just took the world by storm, just like the SIG P365 when it came out. Well, I had issues with the mag release button on the Glock 42. I actually had issues with the feed lips on the magazines and everything. So this is my second Glock 42, and I have to say I should not have purchased this when it first came out. It had the brand new gun problems with
pains.
Teething, yeah.
So they had to redo the magazines quietly. I remember that they Glock did them as a free upgrade, but it was really a recall. So they had the magazine issue and the magazine release issue. They changed out all of those parts for you. They would send them to you for free, and you just drop them in there. I mean, it's not like these companies won't take care of you, but
They take care of you.
We don't buy them when they're brand new because Bob and I do self-defense, and I buy all of my guns to carry for self-defense, to let my wife use for self-defense. I'm betting my family's life on these guns.
Exactly.
So I don't want to be the person with the teething pains. I mean, I've got a Smith & Wesson Shield sitting here. It had a couple things, and it had a safety issue actually with the trigger safety not working like it was supposed to. And this is a model that came out way after that, so I didn't have any problems. And Smith & Wesson quietly, they upgraded some more things too. The Smiths had a huge problem with like a bad run of something with their magazine releases were all rusting up because there's a little metal part in the magazine because they're metal magazines, so you got to have metal on metal. Their plastic will wear out, and for some reason they would just rust like crazy. Guys were taking them apart. They would just douse them in oil, put them back together. They would still rust, and then some companies do really, really well. Glock has just said we're doing free upgrades. There's never a recall with Glocks. There's always just free upgrades. Smith & Wesson kind of buried their head in the sand with that for a little while, and then they finally fixed that, and they fixed all the issues. I think they just got a bad run of metal that they put in there or something like that, but it was when they first came out, so it was a real problem. They had a bad run of the trigger safeties that went in the guns when they first came out, so they fixed those. They were really upfront with that. That was the safety issue was after the magazine thing, and when that came out, they put notices everywhere. It said, if you have this problem, please send your gun back, stop carrying it, stop using it, stop loading it. And they showed you how to test your gun to see if it had that problem and everything. So that was really cool of them. Smith & Wesson, we can keep going. Remember the XD series, the XDSs came out.
They had issues when they first came out. Yes, they did.
They came by storm, and I loved those guns because they were the first real single stack gun, and they were super comfortable. But remember, we got that one that was loaned to us, Bob, and we were playing with it, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the dang thing, and it just seemed like something was wrong, and I couldn't figure it out. It didn't seem like the trigger and the slide were working like they should have. Couldn't put my finger on it. Kept playing with it, couldn't figure it out, and we were in a hotel room teaching for a while at one of the courses, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't figure out this thing. I don't like it. There's something not right with it, and I can't figure it out. I'm done with this thing. And a week later, Springfield put out this big, huge thing. If you're carrying one of these, stop carrying one of these. Send them all back to the factory. And to their kudos, they didn't even know how to fix the problem yet. But they said, hey, stop using them. Send them all back.
They addressed the issue.
We will figure this out, fix it, and get your guns back to you so that you don't have something that's unsafe. And it had to do with the grip safety in there. They actually had to put another little screw in there and a detent or something to make it actually work. And they upgraded all of their guns from them. And then after that, they taught all the dealers how to see if the gun had the upgrade or not. So that was really cool too. But you didn't want to be that first guy that was carrying that XD around forever.
Right.
And then you get the email that says, stop carrying it, stop loading it. It's unsafe. Yeah. Send it back. And you've been carrying it for, 2 months, 3 months. I think those guns were out for 2 or 3 months, maybe even more.
Yeah,
before they figured that out.
Yeah. So that's a good point, Ben. So let's wrap this up because we want to get on to another subject on another video pretty soon. I think the message that video watchers can get from this is that wait. It's hard to do. It's hard. Oh, new gun. Let me go get one of those. Just wait. I'm very glad I waited 1.5 years before, because now I like this SIG P365. I am upset with myself that I didn't wait on the Glock 42 and I had to go through another one. So what's your opinion on that?
If you can at all, wait. If you're going to get the newest, coolest blaster, get it, shoot the snot out of it, and hold off carrying it for 6 months, maybe 8 months after they first announced that they came out, after they first start shipping, because then enough people will be shooting them to find those mistakes, and enough people will give them to the manufacturer to get them fixed. And then by then you'll hear all the recalls coming out or the upgrades or whatever is happening so that you can get your gun fixed, and then it'll be safe and more reliable for you to carry. I mean, we need the guns to be reliable because they need to go bang when we want them to, and they need to be safe because they need to not go bang when they're sitting in our holsters or we drop them. So
maybe it's just a good idea to wait 1 year before you buy one.
Yeah, I think you are on the right track. I know you got all excited with the Glocks, and I did too. I bought the new Gen 4, and I bought the new Gen 5. The Gen 5s were okay. The Gen 4s had teething problems too.
They had problems. The Gen 4 Glocks had problems when they first came out. Yes, they did.
So
they did.
Yeah. So and then they switched out some springs and some other stuff too. And mine, I ended up selling that one just like you ended up selling your first generation Glock 42 you said you bought out. So yeah, I think you got the right thing. If you wait 1 year, the prices will come down and you'll get a better product. Everybody else will flush out the problems and you'll just get the one that works.
Yep. All right. So, folks, if you like this video, Subscribe to this channel. We'd like to get some of your comments, so give us some comments below. And also, Ben, we have another video series that we do. We do a very instructional type videos where we teach people how to practice and everything. Tell people about that real quick.
Well, we have the Shooters Club at shootersclubmembers.com, and there'll be a link in the video and everything, and down below the video. But that's our subscription-based service, and we've got 80-plus videos over there, a bunch of different podcasts, and they're all how-tos in the shooting world. There's a lot of stuff that we can't sit here and just talk about and for you to get. There's a lot of stuff that you need to see and have it broken down step by step. Well, that's where we do that, and it's a membership site. It helps us actually pay for things like, microphones and computers that we use and headsets and all that cool stuff.
And the time.
And well, I don't think I've gotten the money back from the time yet. I'm barely breaking even on the equipment that I use to film that stuff. But it's not a huge investment. $8 a month or $75 a year. If you're not sure about it, go over the $8 a month. Go check it out. If you like it, then upgrade your subscription to $75 a year. If you don't like it, I don't know. We'll hook you up. We'll give you your money back. We'll give you
your money back. No problem. So check it out, shootersclubmembers.com. A link will be in the show notes for this. Check out our podcast. Every week you and I do a show. I do the Handgun World podcast, which can be found at handgunworld.com. Tell them where they can find your show.
You can find mine at modernselfprotection.com or Modern Self Protection on any podcast catcher that you probably use or can think of.
All right, folks. We are Modern Handgunners. Thanks for watching, and Modern Handgunners out.